Hey y'all, if you've ever dreamed of living by the lake in South Carolina, peaceful mornings on the water, sunny afternoons on the boat, and cozy evenings with a view, then you need to know about Lake Hartwell. Whether you're looking for a weekend getaway spot, a retirement retreat, or your forever home with a dock in your own backyard, Lake Hartwell has something for just about everyone. My name is Blake Kirsch. I'm a third-generation realtor here in the upstate of South Carolina. I am a specialist in everything from residential to commercial real estate from everywhere across the upstate, including all of our lakes, which include Lake Hartwell, Lake Keowee, Lake Jocassee, Lake Bowen, Lake Blaylock, and tons of other smaller lakes across the upstate. If you don't know what area in the upstate you want to live in, and you're considering living at one of the lakes, give me a call today so that I can decide with you what lakes might fit your needs best, depending on where you want to be in the upstate and depending on what you want to do with your new lake house. Take the quiz in the description below, and that can help get our conversation started. Let's get into it. First, let's start with the basics. Lake Hartwell is a massive reservoir that stretches across the border of South Carolina and Georgia. It was created in the 1960s by damming up the Savannah River, and today it's one of the largest and most popular recreational lakes in the southeast. With over 56,000 acres of water and more than 950 miles of shoreline, Lake Hartwell is absolutely stunning and definitely a jewel in the crown of the upstate of South Carolina. Lake Hartwell is fed by the Tougaloo, Seneca, and Savannah rivers, and it's known for its clear water most of the time, scenic views, great fishing, and just a very fun lake to be on with your family. Lake Hartwell is also a big draw for boating, swimming, kayaking, and camping. So whether you're wanting to relax or explore, Lake Hartwell gives you options year-round. Now let's talk about the towns and communities around the lake, because the lake stretches across multiple counties and offers a variety of vibes depending on where you want to settle. On the South Carolina side of Lake Hartwell, you've got Anderson, South Carolina, a thriving city with great restaurants, shopping, hospitals, and a very strong community feel. Townville is another small community very close to Anderson that's along the shores of Lake Hartwell. It might be a little bit more quiet, more rural, and perfect for people who want privacy and peaceful views. Fairplay is another small town. Some of the addresses along Lake Hartwell are also Fairplay addresses. Fairplay is a really good and really interesting part of Lake Hartwell because of its proximity to Clemson, South Carolina, which we'll get to in a minute. For example, this weekend I just sold a home in Fairplay, South Carolina on Lake Hartwell. That is going to be an amazing Airbnb for the purchasers. I also sold a home a few months ago in Fairplay on Lake Hartwell that those people are going to use as their small spot to hang out when they're going to Clemson games, because they can actually go to Clemson games and short drive, 15-20 minutes back to their house on the lake to spend the night after the games. So definitely a little bit of a niche market there that blends college life, athletics, and lake life. Speaking of towns that are close to Clemson, South Carolina, and along Lake Hartwell, we have Seneca, South Carolina, which has tons of beautiful amenities. Seneca actually touches two of our large lakes in the western upstate, Lake Keowee and Lake Hartwell, and Seneca is of course very close to Clemson University. So Seneca might be another town along the shores of Lake Hartwell that would be a good investment or a good place to pick if you're wanting to be closer to some new amenities and be close to the university. Each area along the shores of Lake Hartwell has its own personality, but no matter where you land, you'll end up with great access to the water, great access to the beautiful natural environment that we enjoy here in South Carolina, and a slower, more relaxed pace of life. I would say the western upstate is definitely considered the lakes region, lake life, everything that you could think about to enjoy surrounding being a lakefront homeowner. This is the place that you want to do it if you want to max relax. If you're wanting to be a little bit more active, you might want to know what you can do on Lake Hartwell, and there is plenty to do on Lake Hartwell. Boating is obviously a huge draw, and whether you have a pontoon, a bass boat, a ski boat, or a cabin cruiser, this lake can handle it all. The water is deep and wide in very many areas, and it's perfect for water skiing, wakeboarding, tubing, or just cruising around the lake and looking at the beautiful sunsets and sunrises. There are multiple boat ramps and marinas like Big Water Marina, Harbor Light Marina and Portman Marina, where you can dock, refuel, and even grab a bite to eat while you're boating. Lake Hartwell is also known for amazing fishing, and it's one of the top lakes in the southeast for striped bass, catfish, crappie, and largemouth bass. In fact, it's hosted several Bassmaster tournaments, which draw professional anglers from around the country and around the world to the western upstate of South Carolina. If you prefer to stay on the land, there are state parks, hiking trails, and even campgrounds right on the lake. Sadler's Creek State Park in Anderson, South Carolina, and Lake Hartwell State Park near Fairplay are both awesome areas where you can go hang out with your family and enjoy spots to picnic, walking trails, and direct water access. One of the great things about living along Lake Hartwell is it is close to many of the different small towns in the western upstate of South Carolina. There's tons of restaurants in Seneca, Anderson, Clemson, and all across the western upstate that you can enjoy while you are boating and hanging out on Lake Hartwell. Now for a few fun facts about Lake Hartwell. Lake Hartwell is named after Nancy Hart, a Revolutionary War heroine from Georgia. She obviously also might have had a little bit of an affinity for South Carolina. The lake is man-made and part of a 3-lake system along with Lake Russell and Lake Thurmond. Lake Hartwell spans across 6 counties and 2 states. The Hartwell Dam, which created the lake, generates hydroelectric power and helps control flooding for all the farms and all the communities around Lake Hartwell and below it in South Carolina and Georgia. One concern about Lake Hartwell, and one reason that sometimes I don't recommend it for people, is because the water level can fluctuate because it is an active lake that has a job. It is a reservoir for the farmers and the communities around the lake in South Carolina and Georgia, and it's also built to power those communities through hydroelectric power. But there are plenty lots along Lake Hartwell with very deep water, so you don't have to worry about the water level fluctuation. One thing that we do look at, especially if you're looking at a home that might be in a cove or off more to the sides or in the more shallow areas of Lake Hartwell, we want to know that there's a plan in place in case the water does lower to make sure that you still have direct water access at your home. So that's something that we always check into the different zones of Lake Hartwell when we are considering real estate along that lake. One other fun thing that you might enjoy if you are into something like sailing or if you just want to be adventurous, there is a sailing club on Lake Hartwell. It is called the Western Carolina Sailing Club, and it's definitely something cool that you might want to get plugged into if you're moving here. Now let's get into the real estate, because this is where Lake Hartwell really shines. Whether you're looking for a cozy cottage, a rustic cabin, or a full-time family home, or even a luxury waterfront estate, the market here on Lake Hartwell has something for everyone. On average, lakefront homes on Lake Hartwell start around $400,000 to $600,000, with some fixer-uppers or off-water homes with lake access perhaps in the neighborhood in the lower 300s. On the higher end, luxury homes with deep water docks and panoramic views and modern upgrades can reach to $1 million and well beyond that, especially in areas like Creek Cove, Foxwood Hills, or custom homes around Portman Marina or near Clemson University. Some popular neighborhoods and lakefront communities include Foxwood Hills, which is an established neighborhood with lake access, boat ramps, and amenities, and tennis courts and pools, and just a great community altogether. Creek Cove is a golf and lake community near Anderson, South Carolina, with beautiful water views and tons of charm. Harbor Gate is a gated community with condos and townhomes that have their own marina access. River Lake is a beautiful neighborhood near Townville, South Carolina, with large lots, deep water access, and definitely somewhere to keep your eye on if you're looking for something maybe in the luxury realm of homes on Lake Hartwell. Chickasaw Pointe is another neighborhood on Lake Hartwell that I often like to take my clients to. It's on the northwestern side of the lake. It's a gated community, and it has a golf course, a marina, and of course beautiful views of the lake. And the great news, and something that differs many neighborhoods on Lake Hartwell from some of the neighborhoods on Lake Keowee, is that many of the communities allow short-term rentals, which is perfect if you're looking for an investment property or a part-time home that can also generate income. That's especially important to know if you're looking at Lake Hartwell on the northern part of the lake that's close to Clemson University, because like I said, some of the homes on Lake Hartwell can go for high dollar values per night, especially during the big Clemson football games. For example, One house that I know of on Lake Hartwell that can sleep 16 people rents for $10,000 a weekend during football season. So definitely something to keep your eye on if you're an investor or somebody looking to buy a home that might can subsidize its own mortgage. In general, Lake Hartwell is, I would say, kind of my middle ground for most of my clients that want to be lakefront. Lake Keowee is typically a very luxury, high-end lake that can be unattainable for some people because of the price points on that lake. Lake Bowen is very small. It is not a lake that has a ton of opportunity to move to it, and definitely a lake that appeals more towards people who want to live on the eastern side of the upstate. Lake Hartwell is kind of a middle ground. It can have affordable lakefront properties, it can have multi-million-dollar homes, it could be close to Clemson, it could be close to Anderson University. It's just an amazing, very diverse lake that might appeal to a plethora of different people. So if you are thinking of moving to South Carolina and think that you might want to live lakefront, or if you're thinking of moving to the upstate in general and don't know what area might fit you best, take the quiz in the description below, give me a call, and we can talk about what areas in South Carolina fit your needs best. If it's Lake Hartwell, I have lots of beautiful homes to show you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.